Alright, so it's raining today, in case you hear the rain in the background. I'm in my car, obviously. And yeah, I'm trying to do these every day because I want to speak on my experience as a native San Franciscan living in San Francisco today in 2021. I've been following a variety of channels that talk about the way the whole Bay Area has changed. All California has changed, the whole world's changed. But as far as where I am at, San Francisco, it's really a different place than the place I remember growing up. I mean, it's kind of a cliche now. Everyone knows that San Francisco has, really changed. And in fact, in 2020, it apparently lost something like 85,000 residents left San Francisco, which makes sense given that, it's the most expensive city in the country. And now, since working at home is the thing, a lot of folks figure their money could go a lot further in another place. So it's definitely changing even more. But one thing I saw recently was the school that I went to, Lowell, is getting rid of its merit-based, system for students. It's like an academic magnet school. You know, um, it's been many years, of course, since I went there, but it's always had this reputation of being this really good school because the students had, in order to get in, you had to prove that your grades were. In fact, how I got in was, um, I didn't get in. The way I got in was that they didn't have enough minorities, so then they changed their mind and said, "Oh, okay, actually, you can go." So I went. But yeah, today it's getting rid of the whole merit-based thing because essentially it's saying that it's denying, you know, uh, certain kids from attending because of their social circumstances. Of course, race is the big thing, saying that there's racism, therefore. Anyway, a lot of people are against it because it's essentially going to become just another public school, and which is not great relative to what it's been. Whatever. I feel bad for kids in general. I don't even come to think of it. I didn't even know school was still a thing. I mean, everyone's at home. So what does that mean? That, like, their experience on their laptop is going to be any different? I don't know. It's all surreal. I'm not really keeping up with this, but it was a big thing. Maybe they mean like when it reopens, and if it reopens and they make everyone get the vax. It's gonna be more diverse. It's all about diversity these days. And yeah, when I went, it was 60% Asian, and so I believe it still is. And so it's kind of a trip because it's saying like, well, they got good grades, but I guess they don't suffer from racism, or I don't know what. It's more of the same basically. The whole mantra of, because of racism. I don't know. I don't trust the whole thing. I think it's just, but then again, everything is really going south in general, and the whole, like I said, the whole school experience. The fact that kids now have to attend school on a laptop or a tablet or whatever, that's their experience. That much more screen time. Uh, that's obviously, you know, a whole other thing, a whole other, you know, there's something so crazy about that to me that I just really can't get over. But anyway, that's just one of many things. Okay, I had it plugged in. I hope it didn't affect the sound. Got to keep reminding myself. Anyway, yeah, so life in San Francisco as a full-time performer and artist is not even a topic because that's not even a thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a full-time performer, a full-time artist in the most expensive city in the country, which is now virtually, for all intents and purposes, a tech city. Like, anyone who by 2021 still lives here, it's a whole unique uh, kind of people, a unique demographic that can afford to be here, and the experience is nothing like when I was growing up. There's not really a diversity. There might be, even the racial diversity, of course, is not really present, but there's not much diversity of thought or style or whatever, because everyone who's here is just the ultimate normie because they followed all the rules and they get paid enough to be here that they would even be here. It's really Yeah, I can't. I have trouble relating to the culture here. I do my thing. However, fortunately, I've been doing what I've been doing for literally 19 years. So for all intents and purposes, 20 years of working on my craft to the point that now I can, just even in light of this whole lockdown situation, thankfully, I started offering private concerts on Airbnb experiences, and so I get frequent clientele, people that come for a 2-hour concert. That's been amazing. It's really, really a good experience in every sense, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to just have work at a time when many people's work has been canceled or severely altered to be just an online experience. Um, but yeah, I'm really curious where this is all gonna go. Uh, I heard another YouTube channel where the man described his experience in San Francisco, and without saying too much, he basically left it at we're being played. No, he said we're being gamed. I would have said we're being played, but I like that too. We're being like this is even the. I guess it's synonymous with being get played, but being gamed, it means like this really is a game. And when I look around, I feel like by game I mean also like a social experiment to see who will comply to what degree. And it seems that most people, at least in this city, are over complying. Like, I mean, half the people I see are wearing their mask in their car by themselves, and it's just like it's so bizarre. Making children wear it at all times and outside, which is tough to watch because I figured, okay, these kids are not. They have no choice. They're just being muzzled. Just that's just the new reality for them. Of course, they're not going to develop a proper immune system, a strong immune system in the long run. The damage and the psychological damage and the trauma of it, it looks like a nightmarish thing, like a Twilight Zone kind of situation, Black Mirror kind of vibe, and so it's interesting to observe. I'm still an artist and I'm still a musician doing my thing, so I'm happy and I created my own little universe. But for most people, I feel bad. For the vast majority, I see that, you know, it's like the whole society's rug got pulled from under them and they're just left holding the ball. Like, what am I supposed to do now? But it is what it is. I'm, like I said, I'm convinced this is to a large degree a social experiment. And as someone who studied the mouse utopia experiment, rat utopia experiment as well, um, I feel like this is playing out much the same as in, anyway, the rat utopia experiment was an experiment where back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the National Institute of Mental Health commissioned this scientist named Calhoun, Dr. Calhoun, to create basically this mouse city. And actually, first I think it was rats at first. And anyway, 2,000 rats built a city. They had all the food they needed, no natural predators, but it all went awry, and it became really brutal, and it got really bad when it reached behavioral sink, SINK sink, and they started to just kill each other and become completely just demented, just because they knew they were captive. And so I feel like these cities that we live in, there's so many, you know, uh, correlations that you could draw from that to regular society that we take for regular society, normal society. Um, that's why you see this homelessness and people walking down the street talking to themselves, and people losing their minds. And I feel like the experiment is to see how long they can deprive people before they start to exhibit the behavioral sink, like in that experiment. Yeah, it's really interesting to learn about. I don't know. Also, in that experiment, there was a whole class of rats called the beautiful ones, which disengaged and just groomed themselves, which was why they were called the beautiful ones. But were completely not taking part, not participating, and not being victimized or victimizing the rest. Just off in the, but of course, completely isolated themselves. And so yeah, I think this isolation is it's gonna have some long term effect on the people's psyche. And yeah, like I said, it's the rat utopia experiment that we're living in, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I have faith that whatever the universe and that some greater spiritual kind of awakening is underway too. But in places like San Francisco, where I live, it's become fully dystopian as far as I can see. Uh, and so we'll see what happens. Okay. Anyway, on that note, going back into my studio to practice for a upcoming client I have. Actually, I have like this is unbelievable. I have like 4 clients in 4 days. Fridays, as far as I do private concerts, so it's like a concert Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Sunday maybe 2 clients possibly. So yeah, it's really picked up since we live in a society that has denied people concerts, and I offer this service. I'm starting to get an extreme amount of work, so I'm grateful. I have my Crystal Mirror space. It hosts 2 to 4 people. I've only ever had 1 or 2, but that may change. But I just happen to have created my own personal venue, a micro venue, which isn't a thing. So therefore, I was able to fly under the radar of this, you know, thing, this virus. The real virus, I think, is a social, mental, spiritual. And sure, there's a virus out there, or whatever, but I can tell when we're being gamed, and we're being gamed, or this society is being gamed. I don't fall for any of this, But anyway, yeah. All right, that's it for today.